Ooh. We have no report from closed. We're going to go to item 7, approval of the agenda and consent agenda.
I'd like to
Turn your mic up.
I'd like to pull something for review. Or
With a name it.
it's the one on attendance and tardiness.
Board policy 5113. So we'll pull board policy 5113 for discussion.
Are we able to put it up on the side
For later.
for later? Oh, to pull it for later discussion.
So we'll remove that from the consent agenda. The board can determine whether or not to approve the agenda and consent agenda. Then we'll return to the policy, approve if needed or table, and then move forward with the agenda.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, with all of that considered, is there a motion to approve the agenda and consent agenda minus that policy?
Minus the absences and excuses.
Correct. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Appreciate it. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Seeing as there are no nays, the consent agenda is approved minus said bylaw.
And Ms. Ellinger, if you can pull up board policy 5113, absences and excuses. Yeah. From the PDF list, please.
Trustee Cost, this item is open for discussion.
Okay, great. So when I was looking at this, I was looking at it, the one where it says Education Code 46014, students' absence for religious instruction. And I was curious as to language-wise, why it wasn't put in with the other ones where it says absence from school shall be excused only for health reasons, family emergencies, and justifiable personal reasons. So this is kind of listed under personal reasons. I realize this is part of Ed Code, so that can't be combined or merged. But my question, my suggestion for the trustees is that because this has to also do with absences, and I think it's really important as parents, when they go to this, since religious instruction and practices, whatever the religion is important to know if it is an excuse or may be excused, certainly. It'd be really good to have that section, that line, right underneath where the other absences are referenced. So in other words, you move student absence for religious instruction and you put it before when a student's absent. So it would go right in that spot exactly, because then it then folds into nicely, the flow goes into then when a student's absence from a school is excused. But if you know all the absences up front, and I think as a parent, when we're trying to find excused absences, it makes logical sense that it's all like right one after another. That was my suggestion. So we're not changing language, we're just kind of putting the importance to location.
So in terms of order, the board can consider the change. If somebody wants to make a motion to make the change, we make the change and we can vote on it.
Sure. So I would make a motion that we move one of the sections having to do with religious instruction or participation, the one in parentheses, Education Code 46014, and we move it to be right after the section in accordance with law, board policy, and administrative regulation, et cetera.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank
Seeing
you.
as though there are no nays or abstentions, The motion is approved and paragraph 4 will become paragraph 3.
Yeah, that's a better way to say it.
All right,
Perfect.
there we go. Thank you. Okay. On to item number 8 on the agenda, speakers wishing to address the board. The board appreciates and supports stakeholder input at our meetings. Engagement by members of the public in civic matters is a cornerstone of our democracy. The board has established guidelines for its meetings so that we are able to conduct meetings effectively and efficiently. Within those guidelines, members of the public have the opportunity to address the board. To submit a question or comment, speakers are asked to complete the speaker card at the start of the open session at 6:15. If you have not already done so, you may see Ms. Ellinger for a speaker card at this time. During the meeting, speakers will be called upon to make their comment. If you're addressing the board on an agenda item, we will call on you to provide your comment before the board discusses that item on the agenda. If you're addressing the board on a non-agenda item, we'll take those comments at this time. Please be aware that the provisions of the Brown Act prohibit the board from acting on or discussing non-agenda matters at this time. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per person per topic. The time will be on the screen. If it gets to 3 minutes, I may have to interrupt you. Know that I do so with respect. Ms. Ellinger, are there speakers wishing to address the board?
Yes, there are. The first speaker we have is Faraz Al Hassan on Sandpiper Middle School.
Hello, I'm sorry. Board of Trustees,
You can just, yeah, there you go.
Board of Trustees, Mr. DeGuara, attendees. My name is Faraz Al Hassan. I'm a parent of a 7th grader at Sandpiper and also a 4th, 5th grader at Redwood Shores Elementary. I'm very proud to have my children in this district, and I really value the education they've gotten over, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 years at this point. And I just, I did not time this comment with the Sandpiper presentation later on the agenda, but I did want to say I really value what, Sandpiper Middle School has offered my child, and there were things I didn't expect that I just wanted to share. We live in Redwood Shores, and I really appreciate that my son can walk to school on his own. And I know many students that go to Redwood Shores Elementary or Sandpiper that are in elementary school do that as well. But I appreciate having the option to do that in our district. I know, parents have different choices. We have, 3 wonderful middle schools that they can choose from right now. And I really value that he can walk there and he enjoys the freedom and the time we're fortunate to live maybe just 10 minutes walking from Sandpiper. And so with that, the extra time not spending commuting, he gets up very early and does lots of his projects during the morning. Like he does right now. There was a special project that the students in 7th grade were doing called QuestCon, and he has been working on a novel on the environment, and he's been getting up I'm up at 6, and he's there writing his novel, and then he gets at 7 o'clock, and he starts getting ready after reminding him, got to get ready for school, and so it's really and then in the afternoon he can come back early and also work on he does art as well, and I really appreciate again that we have these options in our community for students who are so motivated. And I also value the other thing one more thing I want to add to is I attended the open house maybe a month or so ago at Sandpiper Middle School. And I was, I know I'm the teachers that are here, but especially when I watched the room, I was like, this looks like an anthropology showroom. Like there was like nice couches, inspirational quotes. I felt like, wow, this is not the middle school I remembered. I remember going I had took the 1-hour bus. I'm from Southern California to my middle school. Back and forth, the atmosphere was completely different. I was like, wow, I'm so fortunate that we have, these teachers that set such a wonderful educational environment. And my son tells me how much he loves. I mean, he likes Redwood Shores as well, but we love Sandpiper, and he loves also, making friends, not just in 7th grade, but also with other students from younger grades. And so I really appreciate that opportunity. I went to middle school, it was only 7th and 8th grade, and I appreciate that he can make friends with other students as well. Anyway, that's all I wanted to share. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And next we'll have Lisa Fahey from BRSFA.
Hello. Well, it finally feels like fall. The sun is now setting, sometimes right after lunch. It feels like the rain has arrived. And this week, many of us discovered just how much grading we can get done by flashlight. Nothing boosts productivity like a power outage and the fear your laptop battery only has 3% left. But even with the early sunset, rainstorms, and surprise off the grid teaching adventures this week that I experienced, we've had a real highlight this week. Our first official parent conferences have started. It's truly been a glow. Getting to share students' growth with families remind us why we do this work. These conversations really strengthen the partnership between home and school, and it's rewarding to show what our students have achieved so far. Of course, this year the schedule's added its own twist of fun. Our early dismissal, that isn't very early, has made it fun fitting 30 conferences into a very short time frame. It's like fitting a community event in time of snack. And as teachers are doing this while wrapping up report cards, it's a busy season. Teachers are doing it all, and they're doing it with care and with purpose. And part of that purpose is reflecting. As teachers, we look closely at our students' progress, and we also look at our class as a whole. More and more, we're hearing about an increasing need, behavior challenges, and a growing number of students that require our intense support. We've shared before that some students need help regulating emotions and may become unsafe in the classroom. Those students absolutely deserve all the support. Beyond these few extreme cases, we're also seeing a rise in students with IEPs and 504 plans. Some classes now have somewhat of 20 to 30% of students with documented needs, and that doesn't even include students who need the help but don't qualify for services. When teachers spend that much of a day managing behaviors and providing intense individual support, it becomes harder to teach and harder for students to learn, including those who don't acquire accommodations. We know that student placement is delicate work every year. It's like building a tower out of playing cards, and one adjustment can change everything or fall apart. But when the needs are high and our numbers are high, spreading students into fewer classes create a major imbalance. Teachers continue to ask, when a grade level has a high number of students needing support, how do we reduce class sizes or increase the number of classes? This isn't really about the convenience for the teachers. It's really what's best for students. When class compositions, not just class size, is a part of planning, we create classroom where students can truly thrive. We encourage the district to continue to consider not only how many students are in each grade level, but what those students' demographics and needs are. Thoughtful student placements allow teachers to teach, students to learn, and families to continue feeling that strong school-home participation and partnership that we need, and we're showing this week. Thank you for your guys' time.
And that's all the speakers.
Thank you. Item 9, our board trustee report. Would anyone like to get us started?
Sure, I'll go first. Thank you, President Bruno. Yeah, I wrote my stuff down this month because I did a lot of things and I keep forgetting to, yeah, I know. Thank you. So a couple of them I did with Trustee Koss as well. So I'm going to let him cover some of that and then I'll cover some of the other ones. So Trustee Koss and I were able to attend the advisory council at Redwood Shores Elementary. That was put on by their school counselor, Miss Doss. So it was great to hear her presentation. She went through all of her goals and kind of had a specific goal that we focused on, which was great to hear and really nice to see other members of the community. So there were some PTA members and also some parents of students from Redwood Shores that were also in attendance. Then I also went to Redwood Shores again later. They had a 5th grade theme day, which was really, really fun for me to go to. So a little background, I did not attend a public school. So I didn't know about a lot of the things like Sisters Grimm. So apparently it's like everyone knows about this Sisters Grimm. I had no idea. So it was really fun for the 5th graders to actually educate me on what they were doing. So I had absolutely no idea what it was about. And they were all in little groups doing separate projects. Some of them were very excited to talk to me about what they were doing. Other 5th graders were really just interested and wanted to know whose mom I was. So that was also really fun. I also attended the Coffee with the Principal at Central Elementary. The principal there did a very good presentation on PBIS. And yeah, she had a handout for us at the end, which I thought was really great. And it had just all these examples of how to be more positive at home. And I was like, I need this. This is perfect. So I thought that was really good. I just wanted to recommend to everyone, to parents, if you can go to those coffee with the principals. I know a lot of the sites are doing that. I definitely would recommend. I think it's just beneficial. And then lastly, I just finished up a leadership, ethics and leadership course at the University of Notre Dame, and just very excited to use some of those strategies in the work that I'm doing with the board. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, go for it.
Just wanted to piggyback on the coffee chat. I was given the opportunity to go to a coffee chat with Principal Adler over at Ralston, and she did this amazing presentation on AI and how her staff is working to integrate AI into the classroom thoughtfully and really with a focus on how the students and how the teachers are using it. So I thought that that was really educational. And she sent out an email with the presentation link. So if any of our parents are out there from Ralston Middle School, I highly recommend clicking on that link, taking a look at what they're doing. I also went to the theme day that Anne went to, and it was fantastic. It was just so much fun. And last thing was parent-teacher conferences that Lisa was talking about. I went to my my child's parent-teacher conference today, and Qingpei, I don't know where you are. There you are. My teacher was just raving about the M class, and she was telling me about all the little data points and all the little things that my child needs to do. So thank you so much for your very hard work on getting that through. And I appreciate all of you, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Trustee Northam, Trustee Tang, cost, sir.
So to piggyback off of what Trustee Dang said, one of the things that we both attended was a kind of quarterly 2x2x2. So the 2 stands for 2 trustees from the school district, 2 trustees from the city council, or city council members, not trustees, from Belmont and Redwood City, and then other officials such as our own CBO Masamoto and other city managers, et cetera. So I always look at it as a great way to keep collaboration going, as well as just to see what all the cities are up to and how that might impact the school district, or just to kind of keep abreast of what's the happenings. So CBO Matsumoto shared a little bit more on the middle school study that just recently came to completion about the district office to going through some renovation, and so where the temporary office is being held, some more bond update information. So thank you for that. I think the city of Belmont, one of the highlights was they went through some development initiatives, some housing projects happening, as well as a little bit of an update on the Barrett Community Center. And then a little plug for the upcoming Belmont Centennial, 100 years in Belmont. Let me just see so that's going to be at Twin Pines Park next year. Pretty impressive. And then Redwood City gave their updates kind of along similar things around development and housing initiatives and other parts. So it's just, again, a way for us to kind of keep informed and work in collaboration and have some thought partners as we discuss relevant agendas to relevant topics to all of us. And then finally, I will just add that I always love going to the brown bag lunches. This past month, I attended Ralston's brown bag lunch and Sandpiper. And so it's just really thrilling to just, we appreciate the turnout, and just what is happening in the community and what is on the thoughts of teachers' minds and what do they kind of want to discuss. And so some things came up just, around enrollment trends declining and the middle school survey for sure. And, just some very interesting projects that are happening both at Sandpiper and Ralston that really kind of get me inspired. And I want to thank everybody for doing that. And, hopefully there's some best practices that are being shared, which I think they are across all school sites. But you guys are doing great work. And I really thank the warmness of the Ralston and Sandpiper welcome. So thank you. I always look forward to it. It's a highlight to do a brown bag lunch.
Thank you. Trustee Northrup?
I don't have a lot to report, but I'm just thinking of, I did go to the school force board meeting along with CBO Matsumoto, and just really appreciate CBO Matsumoto for explaining our financial situation to some of our most involved parents who are on the school force board, and also appreciation to those parents on the school force board for everything they do to help raise funds so that we can continue providing the wonderful education that we do. And thanks, of course, to our teachers and staff for everything they do.
Thank you. For my report, I will use most of it for just for appreciations and recognition. I went to a multicultural night at Nesbitt, and it just kind of reminds me of my PTA days and just appreciation in general for PTA parents and the things they do. It kind of at all the schools. I was foolish and volunteered my own time to support the event, which was great. But like, that means I was in the web of the email trails and watching them set it up and remembering how much goes into, you know, these like hour-and-a-half events. So it was great times, but yeah, I really do appreciate what our parents put into community to give to our communities. I've been to a few brown bags now and just really appreciate the time and candor of all of our teachers, and the opportunity to listen and hear directly from. That same thing, I had conferences this week for my kids, and again, just appreciating how hard those days must be for our teachers. I hope that it's maybe easier days for administrators. Maybe. I can imagine people find ways to make it not that. But also maybe there's less of kids headbutting each other because they have less hours to do it. Yeah. It's Indigenous Peoples Heritage Month. Just gonna put that out there for those that's important to. Thanksgiving is coming up. That's really exciting. I hope everyone enjoys some time. I want to appreciate our veterans. It was Veterans Day a while ago. Yeah, I really do. I appreciate everything they do and did and are doing. A few days ago, it was Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day, and some things happened years ago, and then we're recognizing it now. I appreciate that. And also, you heard about the 2x2s and the 2x2x2s and other things. This is I think my last full board meetings as president. I'm heavily appreciating the board. I was supposed to be at those things, and I had conflicts, and you all stepped up, knowing that you have things going on in your life where you're doing something very thoughtful, or you're going through tough times or big changes. But I do feel like you all came through for me in ways that I really do appreciate. Thank you for all the things you do. That's the board report. Now, superintendent's report.
Hi, thank you, President Bruno. Two quick things. I'll just foreshadow. Trustees, beginning of December is always the California School Board's annual education conference. I'm really excited to be attending that the first week of December with you all, learning side by side, and always revisiting how we engage in our work and continue to make our systems better. So thank you in advance for attending that. And I'll just say November is really the time for give and thanks. I'm super appreciative to be a part of an amazing district full of parents who entrust us with their precious little ones each and every day, to be part of an amazing staff who show up, do all the things plus more, to work with an amazing group of administrators and a fantastic board that really shows that there's alignment across the system. Even when we have those ups and downs, we are all moving directionally in the same manner. So I'm just very appreciative, and I'm really blessed to be a leader in our district. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The reason we're all here, item number 11, school spotlight. Let's hear it. Yeah.
We can do it at the end, I think. Good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent DeGuara, President Bruno. Just to answer your question, the work is hard and the work is good. We find great joy in doing it, but it's not any easier any week of the year. So it's all good work. It's all good work. It is my pleasure to be here. I think this is my 6th time in front of you in various forms, sometimes starting with Zoom. And I'm really proud to be here tonight as the principal of Sandpiper School, Gloria Higgins, in case you don't know me, with a fantastic team behind us. If you could just go on to the next slide. Oh, actually, I have the clicker. Never mind. I have that. I got to find the on button though. It's on the side. There we go. Look at that. Works like a charm. Thank you. You've seen this a bazillion times, so I'm not going to talk about this, except to say that we work really hard at Sandpiper, like all the other schools, for cohesion and alignment to our strategic plan and to our learner profile. And what you're looking at now is the Sandpiper approach to our learner profile. And the folks behind me are going to share individual pieces of that. And my small job in this presentation is just to talk about how we try to integrate all of those components together and bring cohesion, coherence across our programming for all of our students. So with that, I'm going to get us started right away with Kristen Osorio.
Hi, I'm Kristen Osorio. I'm a 7th grade math and science teacher at Sandpiper. So a few years ago, we realized that 7th graders, well, all students need executive functioning skills, but that is a learned skill. So we realized that teaching executive functioning directly connects to how we want students to think. By planning, reflecting, and setting goals, they're not just completing assignments, they're analyzing how they learn, identifying obstacles, and making adjustments. This metacognitive process is what helps them deepen understanding and become thoughtful, self-directed learners. In our classes, we intentionally teach executive functioning as a way to help students think, one of our BRSSD learner profile traits. During all time, students plan out their work, estimate how long tasks will take, and reflect afterward on how well they manage their time and focus. They also set SMART goals, which stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time, due dates, that kind of stuff. They set these goals to build their own ownership and direction in their own learning. One favorite activity is called Eat the Frog, which is inspired by a quote by Mark Twain, which is about doing the hardest thing first. Students identify their biggest challenge, break it into steps, or we say dissect the frog, and build the mindset of getting things done instead of putting them off. We found that with these executive functioning skills, the students are becoming more responsible with their learning, as well as not necessarily having to come to me or other teachers and being like, I know what I need to do, I'm gonna go do it. Thank you. And now Margaret Watson about the kindergarten.
Hi, Margaret Watson. This is my teammate, Jen Schultz. Jennifer Schultz. Get to talk about a project born with the opportunity of space to use, which is unusual in our area, the kindergarten. I am driven by a quote a lot of times by Albert Einstein saying that play is the highest form of research. And this project is driven with that our youngest learners need more space and areas to play and be inspired and generate curiosity and get a little dirty. I think that's what's missing a lot in our area, in our time, in our space, in our school. So we had this idea to create a garden area that's more than a garden. It's more of a play space and a outdoor classroom in the area behind our classrooms. And to do that, it takes community. So we were fortunate enough to first to get support from our school administrators, and then reached out to PTA, and they were very much on board, loved the idea of the project. So not only funding was provided to buy a shed and build some of the materials, but hours were donated to paint and to build the shed and to help us plant and kind of inspire the project. Do you think I could do this? And thank you. And then we thought we can even go bigger and include more of the community and use some of those brilliant minds from our middle schoolers to innovate and really think about imagine what types of uses we can have in the space, what types of areas would be great, and the flow of how the garden might be. You're looking at a couple of the winning designs. They include some rock sensory areas, a butterfly area, bird watching. They had some great ideas of how to move through the spaces and incorporate it. They came out and measured, and their innovation really drove us forward, and we incorporating many of the design aspects. So thanks to them, as it takes a community and it takes a lot of things, a lot of people to make something like this happen. And so we're just in the beginning steps and very excited about it. Yeah. Who's next?
There's another really cute picture. Did I go backwards? Did you want to show them that?
Adorable.
Look how cute we are. Oh. They're adorable. Well, I'm Caroline Baldonado. I'm a 7th grade teacher at Sandpiper, and one of my teammates, Blakely Bass, special day class at the middle school, actually 5th to 8th right now, and actually former parent of a former graduated Nesbitt. So this year, our 7th grade leadership students have been partnering with the Intensive Needs SDC program to create something that we call All In for All Abilities. Each week, students work side by side with their peers. They created even the leadership students created this logo, but they work with their peers, and they're really focusing on building relationships, supporting one another, and learning to see the world through a different perspective. Together, our students are learning really cool things like American Sign Language and nonverbal communication. And we're able to do that by pulling in Mrs. Van Laar, who's our interventionist and language specialist, so we can use some of her resources. Some of the fun activities that actually the leadership students have been planning are things like art, music, scavenger hunts. They also attend adaptive PE with Coach Jeff. And my students are really seeing firsthand what leadership is like through service, compassion, and building community. This work was all directly reflected from our work as let me start again. This work directly reflects our profile of an empowered learner and our school site plan. The idea was sparked last year. We went to the Scaling Student Success Summit down in San Diego. And through that, we were able to hear a little bit about their graduate profile. And then we had time to reflect as a team and say, like, what does our students need at Sandpiper, and how can we make this come to life for us and for our kids? And one goal that we saw that came out of it was really strengthening our inclusive practices and coming together as one solid community. So to make All In for All Abilities, we really connect to that goal, and we wanted this experience to be intentional. So we say things like advocacy, where we talk about it as a district all the time. And the way we are doing that is realizing that advocacy focuses more on just relationships. This is not about kids just hanging out doing an art project together. It's so much more. It has to be grounded in the core educational skills and reflection. It means that our students in the leadership class really need specific lessons, learning about things like neurodiversity. They have to have a place where they can reflect and have honest conversations and ask me questions about things that maybe they're afraid to ask in a setting all the time. So we are really teaching these advocacy skills specifically and focusing on things like communication. So another way that we're really making this work is I'm pulling in as many resources from the entire district. So another awesome person that came and spoke at our class was Melanie Henderson, and she's part of our behaviorist team. And she was phenomenal. She sat with us. She explained maybe some behaviors that students had been seeing, why they are seeing it. And again, tying it back to having our kids become advocates, she gave them the language. So she taught them words like maybe stimming or self-regulation. She explained what positive reinforcement is. She talked about dysregulation. And these are all words that we really want these student leaders to start using, to start saying when they see behaviors that they maybe are not so familiar with seeing in the past. A few just like shining stars that I really like to talk about was one of them is the 7th grade leaders where they plan all the activities. So one student was planning activity and she said, my partner really likes music. And I was like, well, that is not my expertise, but what do you want to do about that? How are you going to do that? And she's like, well, let's make maracas. I was like, wonderful.
Well, maracas, when kids make them, they're two cups put together, they have like beads inside. Could be a choking hazard. And they've been in the classrooms, they've been getting to know these kids, and they know that we need to be careful about some materials that we bring into that room. And so I was like, well, problem solve. What are we going to do? And so instead, she had them make maracas with ping pong balls that were not choking hazards. So it's really like thinking outside the box and how they can really support their partners. Another huge highlight was in really focusing on this goal of coming together as one community. The leadership students did a post survey as we're wrapping up this trimester. And one of my students in the post survey, it was anonymous, but I think I know who wrote it. He said that this experience has helped him build confidence around sharing about his own disability and realizing that many kids with disabilities actually have hidden superpowers. Oh, I've also noticed leadership students increasing advocating their skills, advocating for their own needs. For example, I have a picture of our therapy dog that comes in, Garrett, through Canine Companions. And so they're starting to say a little bit more about their own needs and noticing that and having the courage to speak to it. Overall, this program gives students the opportunity to connect learning to humanity, and that expands their understanding of what it means to belong and to lead. When we unite our diverse perspectives and think beyond traditional boundaries, we prepare our students for not only school, but for life. Yeah.
So I'm excited to also share, along with Caroline, some of the great things happening at Sandpiper that all our students, they are feeling more and more included and connected from. As an STC teacher, I get to see every day how these moments truly matter, not just for my students, but for the whole school. And I've seen this more this year than ever before. This, by the way, is my second year as an intern student. Intern teacher. But one of our biggest wins that we started last year was our monthly Stingray families. And these groups mix students, as you know, from different grades, including our SDC students, and are led by an 8th grade student, the Puma families. The activities are designed so everyone can jump in and have fun, and it gives my students a chance to be part of something new in a way that works for them, to be able to go to a new setting, to be with students from all grades, something that they don't normally get to do. And another highlight this year is our Star Cart. This is our second year of our Star Cart, and it's set up and monitored by our speech team and also myself as classroom teacher and also AAC as well from the county. And elementary students earn Star Cards, and they're getting this for positive behavior, and they come to trade them on Mondays after our assemblies. And then our Star Card is run by the middle school SDC students. It's something that's very powerful because it gives my students real practice in communication and interacting with other gen ed students across campus, so they feel a little more comfortable. It just, at least in just small interactions, whether it's just saying hi, but in those interactions, they're learning to do a whole dialogue with them. With support from the teachers and also others, the students sometimes as well. Will look at the list of things that they could use to respond with. And honestly, the impact shows up everywhere around campus after all of these different types of programs that we have. So you'll see the 7th grade peer buddies from her leadership class. They'll be in PE. Won't be a PE time that we may have, and they'll call over the SDC buddies and have them come over and start throwing baskets, or they'll say hi in the mornings or around campus. And then also PE coach Van Laar, who also has certification in adaptive PE. He will support the interactions, and when we're on breaks or maybe at recess, he'll call them over, and now they've gotten used to interacting like on the basketball court. And then some of the students are so used to them as peer buddies from her class that now our students are participating in PE classes with them. So furthermore, the families of my SDC students, they tell us how excited they are after we've described and sent them pictures of how their child is showing their child experiencing joy and also the confidence from being included in those interactions. So these moments remind us of how much inclusion matters for our school and how much Sandpiper is doing for our school. And so it truly makes our school stronger for everyone. So we're building a place at Sandpiper where every student is feeling included and every student feeling like they're belongs and a chance more for all of us to thrive. Okay, yield the floor.
Okay, hi, I'm Francesca Karkowski. I'm the sixth grade math and science teacher at Sandpiper. And I'm here to talk about Win Time. Win Time is a program we've implemented at Sandpiper this year. It stands for What I Need. And the idea is that teachers use data to identify student need, and then they create targeted lessons and activities that address those needs. One one-time practice we've been using for a long time is math centers, not just in my class, across the whole school. And how I get my data for my math centers is through concept quizzes. So these quizzes are like back in the day pop quizzes, but they're only 5 questions that target one specific concept. So you can see my students log up there that says area of parallelograms, and they filled it out all the way to the star. That means they got a 5 out of 5 on that quiz. Basically, these quizzes allow 2 things. First, I can see what students are doing really well with. Oh my gosh, it's my own phone. Is I'm so sorry about that. But basically it allows me to see what students are struggling with and what they're doing really well on just off the bat without them studying. And 2, it allows them to see that information. So they're in charge of their own learning. They're tracking their progress. They're seeing what they need to work on. And they can take these quizzes, retake them as much as possible as like a growth mindset practice. They're working for learning and mastery, not just getting the points the first time. But so I use these quizzes to determine what to do for my math centers, what students are struggling with the most. I make sure that I'm working at that center with them. In the top left corner, you could see that was the center I was at with those kids. They were working on surface area. And we had physical manipulatives that they could measure and find the surface area of, to really make sure they had a concrete understanding before moving on to the next station or to the next unit. The other stations contained either math extension, challenges and puzzles on concepts that they were really good at and needed more of a challenge. And you can see that in the top right corner. And then there were other lessons that were additional practice and review of concepts already learned in class. And really the goal of these math centers is before they move on to the next unit to have a very solid understanding before new concepts are introduced. And that's it. Oh, I already.
Okay.
And there's me.
All right. So you've heard so many fantastic things that we're doing at Sandpiper. I know you must have the question, how? How are we able to do these wonderful things? And that is our PLCs, our professional learning communities that help us build our collective efficacy at school. We're able to collaborate together through time with grade level time through the district, through time in staff meetings, through our professional developments together, and just a joy of working together, that we're able to do all these really cool things and work across grades and able to bring win to the whole entire school, that every single grade level is getting what they need in their form and version that they need in the subject that they need it most. And we wouldn't be able to do that if we weren't able to have these professional learning communities and continue our education, get in each other's classrooms, get in other classrooms in the district and even outside of the district, and get ideas and try new things and be willing to work with each other and have a safe space where we can do that, so we can do amazing things for our students. And one guiding light for us is scaling student success. And you will talk a little bit more about that.
Thank you. So yes, indeed. One of the things that we do at Sandpiper are our instructional rounds, and teachers have been able to go on rounds and visit each other's classrooms to make that kind of invisible, mysterious thing that happens in a classroom a little more open and visible across classrooms. And we always learn the most from each other. And I think they would agree that they appreciate that opportunity. And of course they will right now because I told them they have. When I first came to the district, and I think my first presentation to the board, none of you were on the board. I think, Dan, you're the only person who was here on that night. We talked about a learner profile that we were just embarking on at Sandpiper. And I remember using the words, it's aspirational, it's inspirational at that point. And now almost 5.5 years later, you are seeing that it's operational at Sandpiper. And it's a journey. It's certainly never done. And we continue to work to improve. But thanks to the people that you see behind me, we have truly begun to operationalize that. Scaling student success uses a phrase called from poster to practice. And we see it in practice at Sandpiper. And you're all welcome to come and visit that anytime you would like to. Ms. Gala mentioned, and some others mentioned, having been on study tours with Scaling Student Success. We're going on another one, January 26th to Winters Esparto. It's drivable, so we're excited about being able to do that and continue to develop the instructional playbook that we've built through Scaling Student Success with metacognition, with our inclusion practices, and with design thinking, and take that further with learning progressions that we're doing now. There it is again. This is kind of the visual representation of what you might have heard of as a theory of action. This is how we're putting that poster, that aspirational profile of a learner, into operation at Sandpiper. And I will leave it there and open it up to any questions that you would like to ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Floor is open for questions.
Okay, I'll go first. I don't actually have a question, just a comment, but I just wanted to let you all know, first of all, thank you. Thank you all so much for the work that you're doing. You could stay there too, yeah. This was very impressive. I'm like super impressed. All of the slides where I was just like, wow, that's so great. That's such a great idea. The executive functioning, like, yes, that's so great. I love it. The kindergarten, like, it's so great. Like, as a parent of a kindergartner, I know that my son would just be overjoyed to be in that space. So yeah, not really any questions from me. Just super impressed by the work that you're doing, and thank you all so much. Keep it up.
Hi, guys. Great work. Love it. Thank you so much. I did have a question about the design for the kindergarten. You said that it was like you had pulled in the 8th graders to go, and can you tell me a little bit more about that entire process? Like just what they were doing to.
So at the beginning of the year, the 8th graders usually start out with a design thinking challenge. So we decided to, with the idea of growing together and this prospect of building the kindergarten, reached out to the 8th grade teachers and said, would you like to have them design the space that we're going to start building? We hadn't broken ground on anything or started to create yet. So they got to come and measure and look and imagine what could become of this space. It was just asphalt and fences and kind of trash around right at the time. So they got to draw up and use whatever tools they wanted to come up with either spaces or the garden design. And the winning designs had a drawing using the entire space that we have with little, we could go back to the slide, but they had like a drawing out the rock sensory pool, the butterfly garden, the mud kitchen. And well, we couldn't make it exactly the way they had, but you see like the drawing with the pathway, we said, that's a great idea to make that organic pathway to lead you to different spaces. We love the idea of having a shaded space from the second drawing, putting the plants in one place and the real creative interactive play spaces in another. So they came and presented to Ms. Schultz and I, after presenting to their classmates and deciding on 2 winning plans that could come and present, and it's guided our design. They were our architects initially.
That's so awesome. I can't imagine how fulfilling it is for them to see their work come and become like something real. So I really appreciate that. Hi.
They were all very excited and were sure that a water feature was going to be an option. So we needed to have a little bit of scaling in our financial consideration. But
Crunch too.
they were super enthusiastic.
I actually also still had a question about the WIN quizzes. Ms. Kay, you were saying how they did the WIN quizzes and they're allowed to take them as many times as they want. And do they have like a new quiz each time?
Yeah.
How did,
Well, that
Tell me
part
about
is
that.
a lot of work on me
Yeah.
because I am changing up questions every time, but they are kind of the more simpler versions of the questions. I think I go through about 4 versions
Mhm.
and I mix them up enough so it looks new every time. But yeah, we are getting into the pattern of retaking those on Thursdays and Fridays so that the students advocate for themselves and ask if they want to retake, helps their grade move up and helps them track how they're doing and feel successful. That's not exactly a win time practice. It is considered best practices with teaching math. To really, I mean, it could be a win time practice because they can see what I need right in front of their eyes.
So is it like at the end of every unit that they do this, or is it just randomly throughout the unit?
I sprinkle it out because a unit has several concepts.
Right.
So I try and divide it up as much as possible. So we have a whole unit on ratios, but they add one concept quiz on equivalent ratios, solving problems of equivalent ratios, and another one of just solving problems with ratios. So it's really to look at one thing at a time. So they're not just getting a whole unit test back and being like, I'm bad at math. They can get it back and be like, oh, I'm really good at finding area. I'm forgetting to divide by 2 for the triangles. Yeah.
I love that. I love that it's visual and that you can see it. Well, so many times it's just, oh, a number, right? To be able to
Yeah.
break it down by that category is really,
And I
it's really
think
great.
too, I like setting up students for my tests a lot with study guides, and then they study really hard and then they do great, but which is awesome. But I like seeing, oh, what are they actually getting with these pop quizzes in a safe way that they know, it's not a big deal. I can retake it later.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lots of wonderful things happening at Sandpiper. I just wanted to comment and ask a little bit more about the all in for all abilities, which seems amazing. Just if you could let us know a little bit more of the logistics. I was just looking back at the slide for it. Thank you. It says it's a Thrive elective. So for the students who are not in the SDC, how many students participate? Is it year round? If you could just give us more info.
So it is part of our leadership class. It's a 7th grade elective. And the way our electives work is we have 3 trimesters at Sandpiper. So for 7th grade, we split the 7th graders in half, and half of the 7th graders are in a leadership class with me, while they're also in a journalism class with my partner, Christina Zorio. So, and then that's for the first trimester. Then the second trimester, they're going to flip. So if they didn't experience the leadership class and didn't participate with All In for All Abilities, I mean, they already know about it because we talk about it all the time, but they get to do that in starting next week. So, and the logistics of it is that it's during my elective time. So it's really a leadership class, but once a week they get to spend 30 minutes and we head into the SDC classes. However, a goal of ours is to really be all around campus. So we started out mostly in those 2 classrooms where some of our students with higher needs felt a little more comfortable. And another goal that we have set is to really be more visible around campus. So the leadership kids know to try to plan activities like a scavenger hunt where they're walking around campus and being more visible. Another goal is to start moving into like our elective space and have different things like that. But it's something that we're working towards. So that's about 30 minutes every Wednesday. You're welcome to come. We have a lot of fun. And then another cool thing is once the adaptive PE teacher found out about this, he was like, hey, I want some of your students to come help me. And so they also started joining adaptive PE, which so it's nice because All In for All Abilities takes up about half an hour, sometimes more each week. But then I also have time for the rest of the elective. I teach an hour and 50-minute block twice a week. So we can use other leadership skills. So we can be talking about like communication skills and how to have a difficult conversation with someone and so many other components of leadership too. Yeah, of course.
Sorry, I just wanted to comment. I love the fact that it's a an hour and 50-minute block where you can really dig into the meat of what you're doing. And also having the SDC students manage the PBIS cart is a stellar idea. That like is amazing. So I just thought I just wanted to say that.
You have to speak into the near you too.
Yes, but they're using speech generating devices and they're getting real life skills, you know, with the other students on campus. And they don't always have these opportunities. So it'll give them a little more confidence. And like I said, we're already seeing that with just them saying hi or feeling more confident to do that with other students on campus.
But it's so brilliant because there's that transactional script so that it's easy to, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. And being able to go from there, bridging over into more natural conversation is brilliant. I don't know who came up with the idea, but whoever it is, kudos to you.
And you see Jody here, and she came up with, she's our speech SLP.
Yeah.
Sandpiper. So she worked with a speech specialist from the county. Came up with it at the beginning of the year, consulted with me, and we've just worked through the kinks and created some other, like they have little cheat sheets so they can look at it if they need to, but now they know the flow more. So they're getting the flow of conversation, the natural flow. So it's a great,
that's so awesome.
Functional experience for them.
If I could make an observation about that as well, when you watch this in action, one of the things we observe is that while our students with needs are using their devices in their script, we discovered that some of our neurotypical students who don't have those documented identified needs also need a little prompting on what should they say. So it's very just like natural for them to see that, oh, they needed some prompting with the script. I needed some prompting with the script. We're not all that.
Realized we had to put a little cheat sheet for them. And you'll see one of our parents as well assisting when needed.
I'll just say thank you very much. It's very impressive, the breadth and depth of what you're doing at Sandpiper and the commitment that you have and just the ability to be able to differentiate within so that the students are kind of getting some age appropriate things, but also trying some new things and trying to rethink some things in different ways and continue what you're doing well in the same way. So thank you for your innovation and creativity.
That's pretty clapping for me. I know. Now I don't know. I had two little ones maybe. Home Depot grant. How'd you do that? Who did that?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Cool. Yeah. There we go. And in instructional rounds, is that a yearly thing? Is that new?
It's based in like how long, how much time do you have?
Right. Yeah.
I know we're over. Thank you for your time. It's based in the medical field, and so going on rounds to learn from each other. And
Right.
so we did it twice last year, twice or 3 times last year, twice maybe. Yeah. We haven't done it yet this year, but each grade level or department has a release day or two, where we spend some time planning how we're going to operationalize our learner profile strategies. And we walk through classrooms, mostly looking for positives, kind of just get us going and saying, what can I take away from this classroom and what can I see that's happening here? And yeah, I think they find a lot of value in it.
For sure. Yeah. Cool. Great job all around. Thank you.
If I could just add a couple words. I just want to say thank you. We talk about moving our profile of a learner from poster to practice, and that takes a long time. And I will just say, you all have really accelerated that, I think, at Sandpiper, and are clearly internalizing it and operationalizing it. And we started the year talking about agency and engagement. And everything that was up on that screen screams agency and engagement, and how you are involving students in different ways and empowering them to make choices and own the trajectory of their learning. It makes a huge difference, and that goes just so far. So thank you for that. I want to piggyback on what Gloria was sharing about scaling student success. It's an organization that we're part of that really looks at how agency and engagement and profiles of learners, graduate profiles and whatnot, move from poster to practice in schools, and how we have the potential to really shift the way we look at teaching and learning in our organization. So we're happy to be part of that. She talked about a visit in San Diego. The next one isn't so glamorous. It's in Winters, just north of Sacramento, I think. But in tomorrow's board update, I will be sharing that as an opportunity for board to participate if you're interested in going as well. It's a formal yet informal trip and conversation. I think you learn by experiencing and pulling an idea from here and an idea from there and making sense of different things in different ways. And it's a great opportunity for staff to connect as well. So exactly. So I'll be sharing that in the board update. We plan to drive up in the morning and drive back at night. So it's a long day, but it should be a good opportunity. So thank you, Sandpiper.
Thank you.
Thank you. I pause for mass exodus.
Probably.
We'll give you some time to leave. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
We
drive safe.
Folks who are presenting in a little bit would love for you to stay, but we understand.
All right. On to item 12, approval of the tentative agreement between the Belmont-Redwood Shores Faculty Association and Belmont-Redwood Shores School District for the 2025 through 2028 collective bargaining agreement. With Director Grace Byrne.
These next two items are my very favorite thing to do as part of my job. I first want to thank bargaining team members for BRSFA. A couple are here tonight. Travis Whitebread, who is the bargaining chair, Lisa Fahey and Susan Nichols, who are David Pickett and Maya Bromberg. Really, truly enjoyed 9 months, I think, that we bargained together. And when I say together, we really did bargain together. We don't pass papers across the table. We work together on a common document, have conversations. Sometimes they get a little spicy, but it's fun. You know, we really trust each other. We trust each other to work on one document, and we came up with a really great agreement. Thank you to the members, all of you that are here tonight, members of BRSFA, who ratified the agreement. So for item 12, I wholeheartily encourage you to approve the financial projections and new salary schedules and the tentative agreement presented for the TA between Belmont-Redwood Shores School District and BRSFA.
I moved that we approve the tentative agreement between Belmont-Redwood Shores Faculty Association and Belmont-Redwood Shores School District for the 2025 through 2028 collective bargaining agreement.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Seeing as there are no nays or abstentions, item 12 is approved. On to item.
I just want to extend my appreciation to both bargaining teams as well. It started 9 months ago, and I'll trust you with the 9 months ago. It was a long time ago. With our board and our union membership participating in interest-based bargaining, kind of refresh training, really putting forth the commitment to work in collaboration with one another. And echoing what Julie shared, I saw that. I saw that each and every time the teams came together, whether it was working on a joint statement, whether it was knocking on each other's door during caucus to ask a clarifying question, to saying, hey, let's just talk about this in concept. What would it look like? What if? I really appreciate that kind of conversation. And that wouldn't have happened without the team that was at the table. All those that Julie mentioned, as well as on the district side, Julie and Reese. So a huge thank you to you as well. And I just appreciate that collaboration, that hard work, and the agreement that was just approved. So thank you.
Hey. That felt like a 10-month count. I feel like a 10-month. All right. On to item number 13.
That's why it's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
So item number 13 is CSEA's
That's right.
tentative agreement and accompanying financial projections. First, I want to thank Linda Fonseca, the bargaining chair and president of CSEA, Claudia Velasquez, Ignacio Martinez, and Salia Benzada. I don't believe it took 9 months, but it was a great process. Always enjoy working with them. We do not do interest-based bargaining per se, but we have come a long way. We pass less paper across the table and have more conversations every time we have a new bargaining session. So before I present the item, I also want to thank my team members, Reese Matsumoto, who was with me for both BRSFA and CSEA, and Sabrina Adler, who was on the team for the district for BRSFA. With that, I again wholeheartedly encourage you to approve the TA and supporting documents for the CSEA collective bargaining agreement. The agreement stretches from June 2024 to June 2027.
I move that we approve the tentative agreement between CSEA and BRSSD for the 2024 through 2027 collective bargaining agreement.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Seeing as there are no nays or abstentions, item 13 is also approved.
Thank you.
And I'm just going to equally extend my appreciation. Linda Fonseca, Claudia Vasquez, Ignacio Martinez, and Celia Benzada for their work. And I should mention that every time negotiations happen, the teams put their normal work aside for the day, whether that's lesson plans or working in HR or calculating the budget, that all gets put on hold. So thank you to the teams for doing that.
Thank you. All right. Item number 14. So we're only going to hear from you once this evening. CBO Matsumoto.
Thank you very much. We wanted to provide the board with a quick nutrition update. We have a very special guest with us today. It is our business service specialist, Catherine Reese. Catherine oversees basically our entire food program on a day-to-day basis. Whenever the power goes out, or let's say something doesn't look up to par, Catherine is the one who gets on it immediately in the morning to make sure that everything happens. When we're figuring out how to make our food program more efficient, Catherine woke up at 6 a.m. to go and ride with the delivery driver to make sure that everything that was happening was, all in service of getting everything done as efficiently as possible. So with the utmost gratitude, I'd like to bring Catherine up to the podium to give our nutrition update today.
Thank you. And good evening, everyone. I'm very excited to share more about our meals program this year. First, wanting to just root us in the fact that we are really focused on making sure that we are approaching it with an equity lens and making sure that we're prioritizing students, getting food to students who need it the most, especially on days maybe where we do have power outages and things like that. But overall, beyond really aiming to address food insecurity in the Belmont and Redwood Shores communities, we see California's universal meals requirement as an amazing opportunity to provide free breakfast and lunch to all students at all of our sites. And so also a way to remove stigma around what's historically been free meals. I'm very happy to be presenting this the same day as Sandpiper because I think they are a great example of how our program really focuses on the profile of a learner, and thanks to students at Sandpiper and other schools who have really thought and advocated for themselves. As you may recall, at the end of last school year, we ended up going out for RFP for a new meals provider based on feedback from students saying that they wanted change. And so we really appreciate trying to be responsive to student, parent, staff feedback as much as possible. And ultimately, we also care about compliance and protecting the district from any financial risks related to not being compliant. I first wanted to take a moment to share more about our amazing team of nutrition clerks. Each site has 1 or 2 nutrition clerks who are really the ones packing breakfast for our students in the morning, reheating meals. They know our students' preferences, they know our students' allergies, they are the ones greeting our students with a smile, and we could not operate such a smooth and efficient program without them and the care that they put into their roles. Here we have Blanca at Central and Stefania at Sandpiper, Daniel at Ralston, Olivia at Fox, Nyla at Nesbitt, Shauna at Cipriani, Marichelle at Redwood Shores, and Brandon at Nesbitt. And we're so grateful to all of them, as well as the parent volunteers who make our meals program work, especially given that a lot of them are current parents of current BRSST students or parents of students who've graduated through our district. I won't talk too much about compliance, but I think it's important to note that we are operating a fully compliant program. State, federal, and local regulations shape how we operate our program, and we take that into consideration as a way of making sure that we don't end up having to pay back any funds to the state at a later date if we're found to be out of compliance. But we also see a new regulation on this landscape is the Edible Food Recovery Act. And so this is really around making sure that we're not throwing out good usable food. And so on days when we do have leftover meals, we are really grateful to parent volunteers, the parent sustainability group for Belmont-Redwood Shores as well, and Peninsula Food Runners, because they'll often take donations to Samaritan House and other community organizations. We're really excited to share that since switching to Lunchmasters, we've seen a lot more participation in our meals program across all schools, which we really were just astounded by the increase in participation. And one of the statistics that really sticks out to me is that we're also serving a greater portion of students who do qualify for free and reduced price meals, even though breakfast and lunch are offered to all students at no cost. We still find it really valuable to be helping students access free and reduced price meals benefits because it can unlock other opportunities both inside the district and outside the district. And we're really excited to see that that population in particular has been eating more, especially lunch, at our sites this year. As a whole, we have around 11% of students in our district who qualify for free or reduced price meals. And over the last 4 years, we've seen this slightly increase over time. Because free and reduced price meals benefits unlocks things like the extended learning opportunities program that the district operates with free after-school programming for these students. We're really excited that we've launched an online application system so that families can continue to submit paper applications or they can apply online, which has also allowed us to offer the application in more languages for families. Along with that, as much as it's wonderful we're serving great more meals, we've experienced some operational challenges just because we couldn't have anticipated how excited folks were for the beautiful lunches that we're getting from Lunch Masters. So we were able to use state grant funds to purchase more refrigerators, which has helped because we're also offering refrigerated milk this year, which students tend to say they prefer the taste of. And then we've also been in conversations with the union about how to potentially permanently explore longer shifts for our nutrition clerks, given that there is more food that needs to be packed for breakfast and more food that needs to be reheated every day, as well as for compliance reasons, we're calculating numbers of leftovers, and our nutrition clerks are really thoughtful about making sure that they're ordering what students like in the quantities that will meet demand. Looking ahead, we're really excited to continue collaborating with Lunch Masters on the program, and then as well as with the Parent Sustainability Group, who's been really involved in also thinking about other parts of our meals program, such as what happens with the wrapping that is associated with our meals. And I think one opportunity that we welcome parent feedback. We always welcome parent feedback, but there will be a new district wellness committee meeting early in 2026, and that'll be another opportunity for folks to join over Zoom to share more feedback on the new meals provider and the program as a whole. And then lastly, I think it's important to just recognize that we're continuing to evaluate the feasibility of a central kitchen, something that we know has been put forth as part of the facilities master plan. And I think it's promising to see the increased participation with Lunch Masters this year, but we've also been reaching out and making connections with folks operating meals programs at other local districts to understand how they're operating their meals programs and seeing what we can learn from them as we continue to explore the feasibility of a potential kitchen. All in all, just want to reiterate that if you have anything to take away from today, we're operating a compliant program, but beyond that, we're really offering meals to students every day that they're excited about. And it's really wonderful to visit sites and to hear from students and from staff how much more students are participating in our meals program this year. So just appreciate everyone here, especially those members who were able to participate in our food taste test that helped us select Lunch Masters as our current meals provider. So thank you.
Thank you. Right. Then maybe there's questions, comments.
Yeah, I had a comment. Does anyone have questions first? Do you want me to go first?
I always have a question. I'm sorry. I know this is, you mentioned that you're working with the Parent Sustainability Group, and they had been talking, I don't know, in the background of my WhatsApp, it's in the background, about like milk. And is there a way to get milk out of the cartons and into like a, like a,
Yes,
the little
milk dispensers.
milk dispenser thingies, right? To save on packaging and all that stuff. I was just wondering, have they brought that up? Have they talked about that? Like,
Yes, we have been exploring that. I think one of the constraints right now is our facilities. So not even all of our sites have 3 compartment sinks, which are some of the requirements that go with once you have a milk dispenser. You need ways to give out the milk. So you either have to use disposable cups or have reusable ones that you can dishwash yourselves. And so right now, I think it would really just be displacing some of the waste rather than it being the milk. We would still be dealing with paper cups until we had dishwashing facilities that could help us put that into action. So we're continuing to evaluate it. It's just one of those things that right now we don't really have the physical facilities for until we have more sink capacity.
Thank you.
I'll go. Thank you so much. That was a really great presentation, well thought out. Thought it was very, very clear. I have a comment first. So I have a special needs student who is now in kindergarten, and he had a ton of difficulty around food and sensory with issues with food and didn't eat a lot. And it was a little bit concerning for us as parents. And once he got into the school system and was eating his breakfast and lunch at school around his peers and his friends, he really just started opening up and just deciding he wanted to try new foods and getting excited to eat food. And he's now at the point that he like can come home and tell me what he ate for lunch at school. So you know, just wanted to share. It's important to have these things, not just for, you know, it is obviously important to have it for people who need it, like, you know, low income families who need that. But I think it's also important to have the option for other kids who maybe are struggling with, you know, eating at home or whatever. So anyway, just wanted to share that. Looking at the graphs, I just find it interesting. I love that there's, you know, a lot more people are eating. I think that's great. I'm super interested if something happened at Ralston, because it's just like a huge, you know, spike up there. Is there any reason, do you think?
It's
Okay.
a great observation. And first, I want to say I really appreciate your comment. It's great to hear how it impacts different families, and I really appreciate that. Another way that I've also heard it impacting our families in the district is single parents who especially don't know if they can rely on when a lunch is being packed for their student. And so I just really appreciate you drawing out that, yes, we approach the meals program with an equity lens, but we also really appreciate that it can support families and students in other ways. Thank you on that. And then, yes, to the point about Ralston, one of the pieces of feedback we heard a lot from staff and students last year was just that the serving sizes with the last provider were not significant enough for a middle schooler. And so that was one of the reasons when we shaped the RFP, we included on our taste test lunch meals specifically to see what the serving sizes would be. And so we've just been really excited that Lunch Masters offers larger serving sizes that tend to be more appropriate. I think some of the feedback anecdotally for the middle schoolers was, why bother before? And now it's like, oh, I can actually plan on coming to lunch and having that meal.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that.
So thank you again. This was great. Anecdotally, I hear from my kids who love Lunch Master. They're so happy it's back. I thought the stats could have been reaffirmed by my son Ryan, who's a sixth grader, that maybe he's just eating 3 lunches. But I'm not really sure, although I do know that he's come back even from day one and said, it's really tasty, like they're really happy for the change. So with the operational challenges, would you say, so you mentioned one of the pain points just in terms of, you know, coming up with the physical equipment to kind of support what we really were hoping for, right? More meals. But is there anything that, can you talk a little bit about what Lunch Master is doing well this round versus maybe a few years ago when we tried them? And is there any other pain points that you just want to bring to our attention for us to consider?
That is a great question. Thank you. I will say I was not here last time we had Lunch Masters, but I think one of the things I've heard that's contributing to their success is that they've opened a larger meals operation. So now they used to be based in San Carlos, which was slightly closer to us, but they have much more capacity at their new warehouse in Hayward, which is still relatively close to us. And so I think with that, we've been able to see that they just have the experience and operations to meet the demand that our district is
Mhm.
taking.
Mhm.
And to the piece about feedback on Lunch Masters, I think one thing to note is that Lunch Masters was recently acquired, and so it is under new leadership that we've been able to meet with, and they've been really receptive to the feedback, both under the former and current leadership. And so I think that's one of the things where it's just a little bit of, it's too early to tell, but I think we are optimistic that we will continue to have great partnership with Lunch Masters. I think one of the pieces of feedback that we pay attention to is around we would love more diverse and healthier breakfast options. And I think that is just something that we've been honest with Lunch Masters about. We would be excited for them to offer moving forward.
And is there any other pain points that maybe is still kind of ongoing?
Not operationally with Lunch Masters. I think any opportunities to just formalize some of our kitchens right now, just because our nutrition clerks make it work the way it is, but we do have ovens and refrigerators out in our multi-use facilities rather than in an enclosed kitchen, just because I know that not all sites have had that facility space to support it. So I think that would just be really helpful to our nutrition clerks in terms of giving them more support because they're able to make a lot work with the resources they have. But I think that could help bring it to the next level.
If I may add very quickly, one of the challenges of working with Lunch Masters per se versus our previous vendor is given that they serve a lot more districts than our prior vendor, they are a little less flexible perhaps in the past than we may have been used to. For example, one of the feedback that we received earlier in the year is that some of the cereal that they were serving was a little too sugary, right? And only recently they've been kind of able to help us change that a little bit, sourcing maybe a different cereal. But in the beginning, it's hard because that's the cereal they have for every single district that they serve. So until kind of the resounding voices of all of their clients start saying, "Whoa, this is way too sugary," it's hard for them necessarily to change just for us. The other thing that we think about is, we meet with the sustainability groups across the district, and I think they're always looking for better containers that are compostable or more easily turned into something else, right? And unfortunately, even though we have brought that up multiple times, it's kind of on them. And until more people, they're hearing it from multiple people, but until it kind of reaches kind of a tipping point of all the districts that they serve asking for it, it's hard for us really to, get the ball moving on some of those fronts. So while we are really happy with a lot of the consistency and some of the organizational, economies of scale out there. Definitely some of those, the ability to change quickly on things that, we identify is a little bit slower.
Thank you. The last question I had was on the nutrition clerks. I think it's great to be able to extend their hours and that they were willing to do it. What was their what were their hours before and what's the extension to? Like what's their shift?
So their current hours, this is still sort of in negotiation, but their current hours were 5 hours, and sort of tracking at several points throughout the beginning of the school year, we just recognized it was not enough, especially since this year nutrition clerks are packing breakfast versus before Lunch Master or Chefables would be pre-packaging it for us. So the shift would go up an hour and a half in total. And really we see that the nutrition clerks need another hour, but by requirement, after working 5 hours, you also are entitled to a 30-minute lunch. And so that is where we are hoping the conversation will go.
So it hasn't happened yet, but you're hoping you're kind of in talks.
On
Ongoing.
an ongoing basis, we're
Yeah.
paying nutrition clerks for the work that they're doing. It's fluctuating, but in order to just formalize it permanently, that's where it hasn't been formalized.
Great. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you.
On your goals, on the goals slide, you mentioned one of your goals be to destigmatize free meals. I don't know if you have like, is that kind of a testimonial goal, or is there data? Like, have you asked and has it worked?
I appreciate it. I think it's more aspirational. I think anecdotally, we've been extrapolating from just seeing increased participation at all of the sites that
Right.
we see that as an indicator that we are sort of making progress there, as everyone is more excited to participate this year.
Yeah. Thank you. And then I can't wrap my head around on slide 8. I'm just curious why you think that exist. Why is that? Is that the same thing, maybe? Like, is that the proof?
Yes, I think this is part of it. We did expect that lunch would be the biggest jump.
Right.
I think. Sorry, will you repeat your question?
Let's say Reese might have an answer before I repeat
Yes.
it.
I think I can answer this one. So, regardless, so first of all, the breakfast from our previous vendor were actually pretty good. That was the
Right.
feedback that we're receiving. And breakfasts are served every day in the classroom to all students.
Right.
So, as part of the whole destigmatizing, part
Yeah.
of this, because we're serving breakfast to everyone at the same time, that hasn't changed. As long as the breakfasts are within the same realm of tastiness, if you will,
Yep.
right? Those kids are going to eat. But the big change, at least from the feedback we received during the initial tastings, and even now when we walk through the school sites, are the lunches are a lot more tastier. So enough food. So that's very likely why most of it is happening with lunch and not necessarily with breakfast.
Gotcha. I think my understanding of free and reduced priced meals or like that population is that like that is the group that would eat free lunch. And I think what you're saying is that last year less of them were because it didn't taste as good.
So
Yeah.
the way it works is we have to provide a meal for every student that wants it,
Right.
and we get reimbursed different rates depending on their levels.
Right.
So it's not necessarily that per se like a student says, oh, I get a free lunch kind of thing. It's they choose whether or not they would like to take a lunch, and then
Right.
we get reimbursed to the point where the meal is essentially free, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so ultimately it's up to the student's choice if they would like to take the lunch or not.
Right.
Right. So the tastier the option is, the more likely they are
There we go.
to
All right.
take
So
the food.
taste.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was it.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to share a little quick story. You've heard about 3 or 4 times tonight about the power going out. It happened on Monday all day at Fox, and on Monday at 3 other sites as well. But in the morning when we hear power's out, we go into kind of a little bit of scramble mode because lunches are arriving, ovens are getting fired up. We're putting meals, getting them ready to serve right as school's starting, right? So Catherine is always that first line of defense, in touch with our vendor, making sure that our meals, our delivery routes are being adjusted or whatever we need to do to make it happen, whether that's moving cold meals from one site to another or making sure that we have Papa John's pizza in an emergency where kids are going to eat. That's what she's troubleshooting in the morning. So goes a lot far and beyond by what you see here. And just thank you to Catherine for all your work and organization and effort to make sure that our program is successful.
And if I may have the very, very last word here. Again, thank you very much to Catherine. A huge shout out to all of our nutrition clerk staff. Again, it is very often a thankless job. It's a lot of lifting. It's a lot of moving. They're on their feet for pretty much all day. So if you ever see one of them, please tell them thank you for all of their hard work. It really is a labor of love. And we are really privileged that our nut clerks, care so much about our kids. We even had a nut clerk who was peeling oranges, for example, even during the small amounts of off time that she had to make sure that kids didn't have to peel the oranges for themselves, right? Like that's how thoughtful they are. And very lastly, I'd also like to thank our school staff as well. we've been to all the lunch lines. We see the teachers who help guide the kids through, for the younger grades, if they have the little cards, we see the teachers help them get their cards and get in line and tell them, oh, make sure you scan, make sure you're taking this. So again, it's a little bit of a part of all of us. And I just like to make sure that we appropriately thank everyone for all of their efforts across the district.
All right. We heard a bit about the debriefs earlier. So we're at item 15, starting with the 2x2. Superintendent DeGuara.
Yes, so the next two items are the 2x2 debrief with Sequoia and BRSSD. We were happy to meet with Sequoia. Was it last week? Everything's blending together. Trustee Northrup was part of that, and Trustee Koss was part of that. Trustee Koss, I think you talked a little bit, but do you want to go ahead and kick off that conversation and update for the board?
Yeah, it was my first one. It was really very interesting to see how what some of the issues points were from the high school perspective. I think one of the interesting things that they brought up and just wanted to kind of check alignment with us was use of AI, and if that was kind of being used and in what places. That digital AI experience among our students and among our staff and teachers. And so it was kind of a very interesting, as they also kind of think through what that could mean in a high school setting. So I think that was very interesting. And I was just also asking them a question around the IB, because Sequoia has an IB high school. And I wanted to see like what that experience was like, and if it's been well received at the high school level as much as it has for Nesbitt at the middle school level. And it was interesting because she it wasn't it wasn't a cohort, it was a they called it a special, like
a school within a school.
Yeah.
For the IB.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a very good back and forth, and I really appreciated the conversation and kind of, again, just making sure that we set up our students for success so that they can thrive in whatever high school environment they pick.
Not much to add there. Item 16, continue with our 2x2x2.
So for our 2x2x2 debrief, CBO Matsumoto actually subbed in for myself. We had Trustee Koss and Trustee Dang. So I'll turn it over to you guys.
I'm happy to go. So for additional context, to those who don't know, the 2x2x2, as Trustee Koss mentioned earlier, is between us, City of Belmont, City of Redwood City, which is a fun tongue twister, and also the Belmont Police Department. So it's really a 2x2x2x1. We meet quarterly every few months in order to talk about what is top of mind, what's happening in each of our respective communities. City of Belmont, again, brought up their centennial. They are also bringing up some of the transportation, things that they're thinking about in terms of traffic. City of Redwood City is talking about any potential residential upgrades happening in kind of that San Carlos Belmont corridor area as well. So we had a quick discussion about that. The district talked about our bond projects, where we're going with that as well. The main takeaway from all of this is this meeting is a really good place for all of the individual parties to see if there are ways that maybe we can help each other, right? Ultimately, we're in this together, and given our unique situation that we straddle two different cities, it's really helpful to have all of us in the same room. We're all working on different things all day long, so it's nice to take a little bit of a breather and see, oh, very helpful that you're doing this. This actually affects us in this way, or you're doing this. Maybe we can help in XYZ way. So, Trustee Dan, Trustee Koss, anything to add?
Just one thing to add. I know in the past there was a little bit of difficulty getting that 2x2x2 on the calendar. And it was actually verbalized in the room by several people that they appreciated having a regular cadence set. So I thought that was really good to hear that hopefully we won't have trouble scheduling those meetings in the future. And it's great to come together with other leaders in our community and hear that they are also interested and they think that the school district is really important, and so they want to work closely with us when they're doing things that will affect the school district. And then of course when we are doing things, we will also want to involve them. But hearing that from them is I think a big win for us.
Yeah. Thank you. Item 17, communication information on board organization meetings.
Yes, this item is simply that, notification to our community that our annual board organizational meeting will be held on December 11th, 2025. That's when we renew all of our commitments, shift leadership roles in the board for the upcoming year. While some boards elect their next president, vice president, and such, our board has a tradition of moving everybody up one seat. So literally everybody will, assuming the board approves that, will shift one seat to their left and will reorganize our board, so to speak. So that will happen on December 11th.
All in favor? I'm joking.
Not before, Jackie.
Wait to sit next to Reese. All right. Item 18, future board meeting agenda items.
Future board meeting agendas. Next one is, like I said, December 11th. That's our organizational meeting. We anticipate a couple of big things happening there. One is hopefully the adoption of the 26-27 calendar will happen at that meeting. Our teams are working on it. Sequoia just adopted theirs. We'll take their calendar and work around that since our families matriculate into Sequoia. We'll have board recognition reorganization, and we will be presenting as the big item our middle school survey results from the survey that we did. I want to take a moment to also acknowledge that in January we'll have two meetings, special board meetings slash town halls for listening sessions. We'll do a little bit of an overview of the survey results again at each of those meetings, some of our rationale for why we're looking into potential shifts at the middle school level, and start those conversations with our community. January 15th is our regular board meeting. Spotlight will be Nesbit strategic plan update. We'll pick an element there. Measure I and P bond oversight committee, as well as more board policy first read. And that's that.
Questions, comments, concerns?
So listening session town hall is right now for January 8th and January 21st.
That is correct. I did have a request to look at one of those dates one more time, so I am going to do that. Yeah, so
Okay.
yes, and
Okay.
we're going to look at a couple options.
All right. On that note, we are not reconvening the close. I'm going to call this meeting to end at 8:02.